Women have historically played key roles in Sierra Leone's national development. The country's political history cannot be told without mentioning the role of women like Madam Yoko and Ella Kobolo Gulama, who were amongst the earliest set of female leaders. Today there is an increasing number of women leading in different spheres: politics, civil service, business, and other sectors.
Sierra Leone has made some progress. I would not say a lot of progress. It has made progress in the sense that, like you say, 2000 or around about that time, 2000, 2001, when advocacy became the thing, there has been a lot that has been done, and we've seen some fruits. So saying that, you're looking at, is it a 20-year span that we're looking at? Some progress has been made. We now see women in places where normally would not find. Up to where we are, 2021 now, we're having a host of firsts, in certain positions where women never used to even darken those arenas. So there has been progress.
Indeed, the country has recently seen a series of firsts. For instance, in over 20 years of existence, the National Commission for Social Action, NACSA, had never been led by a woman. What is now a social fund used to be a ministry and then a commission with a mandate to assist in post-conflict reconstruction, rehabilitation, and resettlement. Dr. Sao Patomax Kine is the first female commissioner.
It would be interesting to know that when it was a ministry, the NACSA component, the NCRR component, did not really have any woman in a program management level, save for Ms. Bali, who was the only female director. And when it became a commission, I was fortunate to have been part of the team, and the only woman then recruited by Alhaji Kanja to be the program manager for relief and resettlement. When I came in as deputy commissioner, I noticed that things had not really changed from where we left it with Alhaji Kanja's team. I saw that there was only one woman in the management position as senior director. So that was the first task I took on, because we had very capable women who could be program managers, they could be directors. So I championed the cause to get at least more women into senior management. And as I speak, I would say that we now have 4 women in senior management, which is really an achievement for us women in NACSA. And also I realized that we did not have district coordinators. District coordinators. We only had one woman as district coordinator, and we were able to bring in qualified women. Now I think we have 4 or 5 women as district coordinators. So that is how we have ensured that, my time coming back, getting very qualified women who are capable, very capable, to hold these management positions and give them that responsibility. Because you cannot be rolling out a program that caters for the most vulnerable in communities, and women being one of the most vulnerable, we all know, and you don't give it that touch where you have somebody that can empathize to know what these issues are.
The mayor of Freetown is another office which rarely has women in it. Constance Cummings John was the first woman appointed mayor. Prior to the election of Yvonne Aki-Sawyer as mayor in 2018, it had been 38 years since a woman held that position.
My decision to run for mayor was really influenced by my concerns for the environment and sanitation. Those were the primary objectives I had. The fact that I was a woman was actually more brought to my attention than, it being something coming from inside me outwards. One of the things that I did recognize during the campaign, though, was because clearly I was campaigning in the same space as 7 men. One of the things I recognized was that my narrative was different because I was a woman. And it highlighted to me the difference that women bring to the political space. It's not that we're in any way less capable, absolutely not. When it comes to professional capability, technical know-how, even political acumen, you know, women have the same, can achieve the same as men, have the same sort of skills and so forth. But what we bring, which is unique, is a different lens. So the fact that our gender is one where historically there's a nurturing element. I mean, biologically, you know, we give birth to children. Emotionally, we often have to carry so much. It means that when you're looking at a set of problems within the city, you don't look at it purely from that technical or political lens. You also look at it from the perspective of compassion. I feel that there's so much more compassion that women can bring. That's not to say I don't think that men aren't compassionate. This is not an either or. I'm simply saying that women have a lens which is unique.
The first female Attorney General was appointed in June 2018, a position that had existed since the country's independence in 1961. Dr. Priscilla Schwartz was replaced in July 2020, but her appointment is still considered a win for women's inclusion. Since the establishment of the courts, only one woman has become Chief Justice, but a good number have gone on to attain the highest rank in the Supreme Court as Justices of the Judiciary of Sierra Leone.
Well, we haven't actually done too badly. In the history of the Supreme Court, there's been 10 women. I mentioned earlier Justice Awuno right now, Justice Virginia Wright, Justice Umutu Janjalo, who actually became Chief Justice, Justice Nyawo Jones, Justice Adeliza Showers, Justice Shaina Bashtaki, Justice Salimatu Koma, myself, Justice Vivian Solomon, and now we've just recently added Justice Miata Samba. So at the moment, presently, and I hope I probably have left 1 or 2 names, I can't remember, but anyway, and no disrespect to you if I've left anybody out, but at the moment there are 10 of us. Of that 10, 3 of us now are women, so we've got a 30%. It would be good to be 50-50 or reflect the gender divide in society. But I think if we compare ourselves to other countries, we have done pretty well. That's not to say we're there.
We may not be there yet, but Sierra Leonean women are definitely making their way in paths once considered too much of a challenge for women. Currently, the president of Sierra Leone Institution of Engineers is a woman.
Heading this institution as a female is actually quite interesting because although I'm around men, the attitudes of boys, they kind of take us as equals. You know, you fetch, you run, you rubble, you know, you do that. And as you go into university, there's a bit of a competition. You can't be as smart as a boy, and therefore, you know, you have to improve yourself. You go into the working environment, and you're constantly proving yourself to be as qualified and as intelligent as your male counterparts. But when you come to heading an institution, you would imagine that those challenges would be over, that you have reached the pinnacle of your career, heading an institution, and you have no challenges. But it's interesting because we still have these challenges, and I guess it's by virtue of the culture of the country in which we live in. Although I am told in other countries the same applies. But it's interesting for me, and it feels good because I am in a position where I can do something which a lot of people want to do but aren't able to do, which is to change the narrative and show that women are able to do, we say it all the time, just as well as the men, but we are really able to do just as well as the men. We may not come with the strength, the power, the brute force. We come with intellect, with grace, with dignity, and hopefully better communication skills and empathy, which allows us to maybe go the extra mile that some people will just overlook.
One office which has been headed by women more times than not is the country's audit service. Lara Taylor Pierce is the current Auditor General and the third female to hold this position. I asked her why women seem to thrive on this seat.
With all due respect to our men, I would say women are more resilient when it comes to our business, which is really making sure that the public funds have been utilized properly. Because I could imagine a situation wherein probably if a man had been in this position, with some of the pressures that come with the job, it may be a little bit more difficult for the man to restrain. You know, women are more, I would say, a little bit antisocial when it comes to our work. I mean, I don't go to the bars to drink, so I wouldn't have to come across a colleague or somebody who will try to pressure me on something pertaining to the job. But a man probably could face those kind of situations. The issue of thinking development, women are more focused on that, given the fact that we are custodians of the family. We see where problems are. We are custodians of our community. We see where problems are. So there is this passion to make sure that we do things properly within the accountability framework which we work in Sierra Leone. So probably that's why women have thrived.
There is still nowhere around the world where women are equal to men in terms of legal, social, and economic rights. Equality campaigners have been advocating for policies and programs that promote gender equality. But there are still challenges that limit women's access to power and inclusion.
One of the main challenges that you'll find is the acceptance of this change. The whole world is changing and has changed. The landscape is fast changing. So, and some people in their normal day-to-day would not readily go with the speed that the world is changing with, or might not really make themselves, avail themselves to the idea of change, of seeing things that never used to happening. So worldwide, that challenge would be acceptance, having a space, acknowledging that actually I can have a woman by my side, or I can have a woman leading me, but we would work together, I'll give that person support, and the woman will give. So women have been giving men support. Otherwise, we will not have the same behind every successful man that is a woman.
One of the challenges you'll find is that society, our society in particular, tends to place women in boxes. And one of the questions I was asked repeatedly, much to my surprise, was, you feel you're able to do this? As woman, you were able? So that already tells you that there's an expectation that women can only perform at a certain level, that leadership is not something which women would be expected to take. So what do I say to women who are aspiring for office? Go for it. It's demonstrating our potential. That is what really matters. People will continue to say what they say until you prove otherwise, until you prove them wrong. And you prove them wrong by being persistent, by being dogmatic, by pushing your way into that space. Obviously, politely, kindly, sweetly, but knowing that it's your space and you have a right to it.
It's unfortunate, but you have people thinking, women, if you get women into these positions, they have so much doing, they have the family, they have the kids. I mean, I start to wonder, how can you use somebody's proactiveness, somebody's multi-role to militate against that? We are mothers, yes, we take care of homes, we take care of kids. So why should that militate against women? we are managers. We know how to manage our time. So you cannot say that if you have too many women, oh, they'll have so many other things doing. Give them the opportunity and you see how they manage their homes. I mean, we manage being managers in the home, breadwinners, we're the healthcare providers, we're the counselors. We do all of that. We multitask. So give them the opportunity. They can be managers, even though they are running homes, they are managing husbands, they are managing children. So that was one of the stereotypes I found, relating at that level. And also there are times you have things that actually border on us women, where some of the women, maybe because of the social systems and things that have militated against them in the past, they shy away from taking their seat at the table, building that confidence. So that is why in any situation I find myself that I have to give a mentoring talk, or in a group of women that I have to address, the first thing I tell them, you have to build that confidence in yourself, because there are so many virtues we have, so many skills we have that we ourselves undervalue. But these skills are really translating into lives, and we have not been able to sit back and measure to see how much impact they are creating.
You need to be smart. You need to have a vision. You need to know where you want the office to go. You need to have allies. This job is not easy. You need to have people out there who believe in you. They believe in the work you do and are ready to support even as and when the challenges will come your way. So ego will not help you. And with all due respect to our men, ego is a common problem, in that particular sector, on the human race. But I would say we are more open to suggestions. We are more open to criticism. But you have to be smart to know how you deal with such criticism.
As long as you have it in your head to do, and you're prepared to work for it, and you're prepared to go the extra mile to get it, you will receive it. And something like science, I always say this anytime I'm interviewed. In Sierra Leone today, 50% of our population or more is women. And if we allow our great brains, who could bring so much to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, to just sit on the shelf and decide, okay, they go do business because, and not allow them to be innovative and design the next biomedical innovation, or design the next mechanical engineering. I mean, look at Chris right here. Don't allow them to do that. Then as a country, we're missing out. If we don't allow them to raise their voice and step forward and encourage and inspire others, then we're missing out as a country.
The social, the cultural, religious things that have put a hold, I would say, let me put it this way, in how we do things, in how women, especially or girls, would do things. But then with the changing world and the changing landscape, yes, you still have those challenges. And yes, you still have people who would not readily be able to articulate for various reasons. But to be able to give, and this is what is important now, for women seeking to get the skills, to be able to go out there and fight it out. So it's kind of a revolution. I think over the maybe 30 years plus, is this the whole revolution in the mindset that I'm actually no longer waiting to be invited to the seat. I am going to find a seat for myself.
International Women's Day is used to raise awareness about and lobby for women's equality and accelerated gender parity. It is also a day to celebrate women's achievements, uplift and inspire others. This year's theme is Choose to Challenge.
Challenge yourself to find knowledge. Challenge yourself to do things that are right. Yeah. When we say things that are right, challenge yourself to make people see why there has to be inclusion, why people should not be left behind, why nobody can come and make a decision on my behalf without not necessarily experiencing what I've experienced.
So I choose to challenge urban planning, building permit issuance, because women's lives are lessened. They are made more difficult. because of poor housing, which brings with it poor sanitation, poor access to health, poor education. Often when we think of women's issues, we think of what happens in the end, the consequences. But in reality, there's so many underlying factors, many of which start with the paucity, the poor quality of our living environments. And women are the biggest victims of those. Whether it's living in an overcrowded house where young girls are having to share rooms with men, family members, and sometimes not even family members, opening them up to rape. Whether it's having a situation where informal settlements are established, where there's no access to water, and young girls are again at the risk of rape because they're having to get up at 2, 3 in the morning to go get water. Very often we forget that we build systems, we build infrastructure which disadvantages women. And what I choose to challenge is the way we build our city.
Always set a goal for yourself. There has to be something that you want to achieve. I mean, that personal goal can translate into helping other women, other people, your community, and believe in that goal. And as you go on in life, don't have a defeatist attitude. Take your seat at the table. Empower other people, other women when you can. I mean, all of these ingredients can take you to places. Set your goal, empower other women, have that confidence, take your place at the table, and don't be intimidated by the status quo or by the usual negativities that keep women back.
Choose to challenge. And I guess by virtue of being a woman in Sierra Leone, some might say our whole lives are a challenge. We have no choice. But I would say stick up for what you believe in. The Sierra Leone Women Engineers is about to launch their Fearless Girl campaign, where we are choosing to challenge the norms and the practices that say that we can't do things, where we're choosing to say, hey, hang on, we're here, we're different, we're choosing to be different, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I would say, don't be afraid. You know what? Don't listen to that voice in your head that says you can't, because if you shut it out, there's another little voice in your head that is saying you can, and that's the voice I want you to listen to. Choose to challenge.
We're all in this movement of women and change. We're all in this movement of gender empowerment. We're all in this movement of the Sustainable Development Goals, women issues, making sure the women are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so we all need to support each other. If we cannot support each other, we will not succeed in this fight. So a short message to my fellow women out there, to the young girls out there: be smart, be firm, and be ready to lift up your fellow woman, your fellow girl, your fellow, girlfriend, your sister, your aunt, your cousin, because we face so many issues, and if you do not have somebody to lift you up, it is very challenging. So let's lift each other up, even as we celebrate International Women's Day.
To all my fellow women, and to the girls in particular, because I think perhaps we shouldn't just think about us, the professional women, those who may not be as fortunate as us. I hope that you have a great International Women's Day, but that we use this as an opportunity to showcase the talents that we already have as women. And for those who are yet to fulfill their goals and dreams, to keep at it, because someday it will it will actually happen for you. However you want to do it, whether it's you want to do it in business, in academia, or in the professions, or being even a homemaker. Whatever you want to do, keep at it, and let's just use this day as a springboard to dreams and aspirations for all women and girls.